Some more examples here. Number 11, we have 3hk minus 2k minus 12h plus 8. So we have four terms. So we want to think about grouping. I don't see anything that I need to rearrange, but if we get to the point where we factor out and nothing matches up, we can kind of go back and maybe think about that. So the first two terms here, I see that k is a common factor, right? So I'm going to put a k on the outside, and then I'll have 3h minus 2 on the inside. All right, so factor out a k, and then our leftovers stay back inside. All right, so here, these second two terms, I have a negative in front, so I'm going to factor out a negative. And then the greatest common factor between 12 and 8 is 4. And there's no common variables, right? This has an h, but the other one doesn't. So negative 12h divided by negative 4 is positive 3h. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. And now we can see that these match up. So it's a good sign. So we get k minus 4, or excuse me, put this one first, 3h minus 2. And then the k minus 4 goes back inside the parentheses. By the way, I should have mentioned this before, but it doesn't matter what order you put these, right? So if you put the k minus 4 first and then the 3h minus 2, that is fully acceptable for full credit, right? That's the same value. Remember, there's the commutative property of multiplication, which says that a times b is the same as b times a, right? All right, let's check out number 12. So number 12, we might need to do some rearranging here, right? Here we have an AB and a B, so the B goes into both, so that looks like it could work. But here, in the second binomial, the A comes second, right? And here the A comes first. So I'm gonna switch this around and swap these two terms. So then it becomes 3AB minus B plus 12A minus 4. Okay. And so sometimes you might have a negative in the middle, but when you rearrange it, it might turn to be, or it might turn out to where it's positive. And so so I'm going to start with these first two terms. I see they have a b in common, so I'm going to factor out a b, and then I have 3a minus 1 left over, right? If I divide each of these by b, then this cancels out and we get 3a. Negative b divided by b right here, those cancel out and become 1, right? Okay, then the second set of terms here, 4 is a common factor, right? The greatest common factor between 12 and 4 is 4, so I'm going to factor out a positive 4, and 12a divided by 4 is 3a, and negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. Right, and remember, you can kind of use this as a hint as to what this is going to be, right? So this, hopefully these become pretty predictable to where you can kind of, figure out, okay, yeah, I see where this is headed. So we get 3a minus 1 in the front, and then our leftovers are b plus 4. So I'm going to put those back inside here, and that's it. All right, let me do one more example, and I think that'll be enough. And then just, as usual, send me any questions if you have them, right? Or bring them to class. All right, so here, this is in standard form, right? So that makes it a little bit simpler if you have just one variable in the mix. If you put it in standard form, usually that's the best way to, the best format to group. So these first two terms, I can see they have a common factor of 2z squared, okay? So the GCF between 4 and 6 is 2, and they both have a z, so we take the one with the smallest exponent, right? So 2z squared. Then when I divide, 4z cubed divided by 2z squared is 2z, or 2z to the first, right? So invisible 1. And then 6z squared divided by 2z squared, z squareds will cancel out, and we'll just end up with 6 divided by 2, which is 3, right? but it's going to be negative 3 because of this sign here. All right, then with the second two terms, I have a negative here, so I'm going to factor out a negative. The GCF between 6 and 9 is 3. And when I do 6z divided by 3, I'll get 2z. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so now we have that binomial that matches up, and now that becomes a common factor. Oh, and I made a mistake, right? Who sees it? Yeah, so when I divide this by negative 3, which is what my GCF is, 9 divided by negative 3 should be negative 3, right? So let me fix that here. All right, so that should be a negative 3. And then inside the parentheses, I'll have 2z squared minus 3. And that's it.